So we got this 2014 Dodge Avenger. It's got the corporate 3.6 in it. And when I was doing the thermostat housing, I noticed that a rodent had gotten in underneath the manifold here. You can see it's chewed off all this. And if you pull this up, I already vacuumed a lot of it out. If you pull this up, there's a huge nest back there. And that's where all the fuel injectors and stuff are. So we're going to pull this upper intake off and take a look under there and make sure none of the wires were chewed, or we try to prevent any kind of shorting out or anything like that in the future. Right now the car runs fine. We're not noticing anything, but you know, with there's even stuff back on this side of the manifold. So he's been running back and forth this manifold. So it'd be safe to pull this upper intake off, pull that foam out, and take a look. You know, vacuum it out and take a look at the wires and make sure he didn't chew any of the wires. So we're going to start on that. All right, I got this intake pulled off. I'm trying to avoid taking all this crap off back here. But you can see here, got a pretty good nest in here. Hopefully he left. I'm not a big mouse guy. So I'm gonna pull all that crap out and vacuum this out. And we'll try to make sure none of the wires are chewed through. All right, so we cleaned house. No more mouse nest. And I looked through all the wires and they all look good. So we got lucky on that. And the car was running fine. So it's all cleaned out. It's scary because it's got the fuel injection and the coil pack wires here. So it could have easily, if he would have started chewing on any of that stuff, the car would have started going haywire. So it's real good that we got it. He didn't do that. Like I said, this car is driven every day, so it's kind of surprising he got as far as he did. It's almost like he maybe jumped out when the car started and came back later. I don't know. But it's pretty impressive that he got that far and the car's driven every day. So yeah, I'll just put the intake back together and that'll pretty much be it. But that's just a little interesting video on these mice and what they can do. And even if you drive your car all the time, sometimes they can still get away with stuff. And like I said, these are your coil packs here and the fuel injectors. If he would have chewed on any of those wires, it really could have caused a lot of major issues. So glad we caught it before. Well, I mean, I don't know if he's dead or not, but hopefully he doesn't come back. We cleaned his house out, and we'll put this manifold back together and get her back on the road. You can see this thing, this foam that they put between the lower and upper intake. He went to town on this. This was free bedding for him. So, yeah, he went to town on this. This was very good. Kept him nice and warm, I guess, at night. So, anyway, that's I guess where he was getting his material at to make the nest is right off the car itself. Luckily, he didn't use the wires or anything else important. So, anyway, we'll put it back together and get this hoopty back on the road. All right, so here it is back together again. Like I said, I didn't take the intake completely off because there's all kinds of stuff back there. So I just jacked it up. I mean, there's a couple nuts back there you have to take off if you have a similar problem with mice. But I don't think it's necessary to pull the whole manifold off. You got these two brackets in the front, and then you got the regular intake bolts, and then there's a few nuts back there to the brackets. That's pretty much it to pull the intake off or jack it up. To pull it off would be more involved with all the duct work and the wiring and stuff. So anyway, that's back together. We still got to put the engine cover on. And like I said, this car ran fine. I don't see any wiring issues, so that whole entire issue with the mouse should be resolved now. And like I said, hopefully it doesn't come back or anything. So anyway, that's it. We'll put the engine cover and boot this thing out.